So classic Doctor Who director demands, he's not asking, he is demanding more LGBTQ and Ncuti Gatwa's season 2. If he's gay, let's see it. You know what? Yeah, let's see it. Because right now the views are, the ratings and all that all-time low. And why is that? Because of stuff like this. People are tired of it. People are tired of having obvious agendas forced down their throat. It's not the old days where they were able to have it subtly in there. No, every single episode is in your face political message. And I get that Doctor Who's always been left leaning, but they haven't had a problem showing maybe the other side of the aisle, views, or, keeping the stories subtle. Where, like, Russell T Davies used to do amazing stories, may have been politically driven, but you didn't really know about that because it was such a good episode. Now he's just like, oh, I don't do that anymore. It's going to be in your face and you're going to like it. So we're long past the days of subtlety and nuanced messages. And no, it's in your face. And when it's in your face like that, good storytelling is being sacrificed because they like to treat the viewers like they're stupid. I've said before, it's like nowadays, instead of having a good story about racism, right? Because racism is bad. We agree, racism is bad. And having a story, dealing with that kind of, think of like, I think one of the best ones, at least for that I've seen, even though it kind of it's Family Matters with Laura, and she has the, wanting the Black History Month in school, like, to be taught every month, because it's American history, to be part of history, because Black history is American history. And someone wrote on her locker, like a note or something, that if if you want to learn Black history, go back to Africa or something like that, and the N-word. And it dealt with racism, and it was a really good, and her parents, instead of blaming white people, they just said some people are ignorant. Some people are just scared of things they don't like or understand, and it was a really nice way of going about it. And then, her grandma comes out, talks about when she was younger, about the library, how she would go into the library all the time, but then all of a sudden, the man who worked in the front of the library all of a sudden just started saying that she couldn't come in. And yet she kept going back and going back for a library card until one day she shows up. It's raining and all that, and she shows up and they're like, just here you go. And then she gives the library card to Laura saying, just don't give up on things. But it went about the whole racism, like Fresh Prince did racism really great. And there's a way of doing it, which is, a way of doing it where it gives the message, but it's not in your face and preaching. No, it's in your face and preaching in pretty much anything now. They can't just do subtlety anymore. Not to mention this dude goes out and is like, oh yeah, touch grass and blah blah blah, and then he wonders why no one's watching the show. Well, maybe because you told people to touch grass. So, let them. If they want to make it more gay, no one's watching it anyway, so go ahead. Make it as gay as you fucking want. If viewers still thought Doctor Who might have a chance to redeem itself for the upcoming season 2, no. Russell T Davies has already shown that he is not the same person anymore, and instead of having fun episodes that may have a political message, no, it's all in your face. Instead of having a story about racism, and having it subtle, now it's in your face, like, oh, you shouldn't do racism is bad, it's in your face. Russell D. Davies Kugawa, one of the show's classic directors, says he hopes there will be more of it, saying, if he's gay, let's see it, because people totally love seeing it. The current iteration of Doctor Who has been mired with identity politics, going back to the Jodie, not a little bit into Peter Capaldi, his last season. It was pretty bad. But Peter Capaldi, being the amazing actor he is, worked with what he had. He worked with what he had. When the whole thing with the Master, when John Sims' Master shows up, That's the speech the doctor gives about just being kind. I'm like, oh my god, that is so good. That is so good. Like, this is the doctor. This is what Doctor Who is. This man who understands compassion and kindness and mercy, and who seems to understand it more than humans do. Considering, I mean, what he did to his planet. But it was so good. Um, but it got a little political there at the end, and then like all of Jodie Whittaker's and all of this, it's just they again, there's nothing wrong if you're going to have a political message, but you can do it in a subtle way where it's not in your face. But they can't do that anymore. These people are not clever enough anymore to do it. Easily pronounced with the return of Russell T Davies, a showrunner with the 60th anniversary specials, which also failed, even with Catherine Tate, David Tennant, freaking it, Neil Patrick Harris. It still failed. It still failed. Bringing back David Tennant to lecture viewers about transgenderism. Yeah, a male presenting doctor. He's being told about a male presenting by a transgender female. It's like, you're a dude. Who are you talking to saying about him male presenting and how he doesn't know the struggles of women? You're a dude. Like, if you want to identify as a woman, that's whatever. But do not act like you are a biological woman. The doctor was previously a woman. But you have no room at all to be talking to the doctor about being male presenting and not knowing the struggles of women. The dude was just a woman before he regenerated. It made no sense, and it was just the entire episode was, oh, my perfect daughter. Sometimes I feel like an alien. Pronoun. And this is not Doctor Who. With the casting of Ncuti Gatwa, the show took a turn to become even worse in that regard. The Doctor lost all his masculinity, crying in multiple episodes. Yeah, the Doctor was not known to cry, and when he did kind of tear up, he kind of like stayed strong. You weren't going to see him like. I remember the one with the girl in the fireplace when the Doctor comes back in, and he's clearly upset. And Rose asks him, he's like, are you okay? He's like, I'm always okay. Yeah, he's like, you can see he's hurting though. There was the one with Peter Capaldi, where Missy lies to him, saying that she found Gallifrey and gives him coordinates, and he goes to where she said, only to find nothing there. And he just breaks down. He just starts smashing the console and just this fit of rage because he was so mad. Matt Smith's Doctor with Amy and Rory when they're in the graveyard, they're going back to the TARDIS and the Weeping Angel show up and take Rory. And then Amy's kind of like, well, where did they take him? He's like, I don't know. No one knows. Just come back to the TARDIS. We'll figure something out. And then she kind of decides to sacrifice herself, hoping that wherever Rory went, that she would go with him. But he's not like, he kind of tears up a bit, but he's not a whiny bitch. But apparently this dude is crying all the time. Unable to solve problems and showing off his gayness by making out with a man while his companion was in danger. Everything the Doctor would do. Not. The Doctor is never that selfish. He's never that selfish. Up until Peter Capaldi, the Doctor has never been selfish like that, for the most part. I mean, he may have had moments, but he goes out of his way to make sure that his companions are, like, he was never going to leave someone to be like, But then Jodie Whittaker comes along, and it's like, oh, I'm socially awkward. I'm going to hear and think about something I should have said 5 minutes ago. And then this dude's going off and freaking making out with... It's not the Doctor. They're trying to pander to a younger audience, and it's not working. It's not working. The show's prior season had the lowest ratings of any Doctor Who iteration in history as a result, but it's not enough for those who are attached to the show. Waris Hussein is best known for the Doctor Who lore for directing the 1963 episode An Unearthly Child. God, William Hartnell, man. William freaking Hartnell. And the Age director wants Davies to push further into LGBTQ agenda. Naturally, Hussein himself is gay. He gave an interview to Doctor Who magazine on the subject. I'm curious about Russell T Davies. What about Russell T Davies thinking? Where's he taking the character? What's the mystery? If Russell T Davies has made the Doctor queer, is there a reference to it apart from him making out with another fucking dude? There should be a curiosity among the people the Doctor meets. And that's the thing. The Doctor's sexuality and relationships has never been the forefront. Like, he'll flirt around. You know, he had the thing with Rose to the point where, you know, he had a clone of himself, essentially, that kind of stayed with Rose. I mean, it was kind of hinted with Amy, with the Doctor and Amy. I mean, I think she saw him as more than just the Doctor, for a time. But, you know, there was like, are they getting close? Is she gonna cheat on Rory? But the Doctor's love life, even when River was around, it wasn't like, oh, them holding hands and you know, the banter back and forth, arguing with each other. The two husbands of River Song, great special, where they're arguing, and, you know, the face the Doctor gives about the exit in the floor. She's like, there's this many, one in there, one on the floor. He's, no, I don't like it. And I think she's like, what, too inconvenient? He's like, a bit too tight. And she's like, oh, I hope you're not being personal about that. And he does this, like, you know, cheeky little eyebrow lift, and just seeing them back and forth, you know. And then at the end of when they're on Beryllium, and with the speech with the Doctor, you know, things end, and it's like, oh God, it's so good. But their relationship, while it was a thing, they never made it a big deal, because the Doctor, unfortunately, can't really have a normal relationship. You know, he could, you know, even River, who is part Time Lord, dies. You know, so he can never have a true, full, real relationship. So relationships have never been really something the Doctor has concerned himself with. The fans really didn't care too much. It's like, oh yeah, if it happens, it happens. But it's always going to end because it's the Doctor. The guy's several thousand years old, as far as we knew at the time. And everyone else, they're pretty much human. They're going to die. Except for Clara, who is apparently still alive. As long as she doesn't go back to the moment of time where she died, she's going to keep on living with her and me. A shielder, instead, she changed her name to Me. She's like, I'm just me. So they're both basically truly immortal. They can't. So as far as I know, Clara and Me are still wandering around in their little diner TARDIS. There's no point in saying, well, it doesn't matter. It does. Queerness matters. Queerness. I've grown up with that mentality. I can't get rid of it. And that's your problem. So it must shape the Doctor. No, it doesn't. No. If he's gay, let's see it. But don't lose the mystery. This is why people are turning off Doctor Who and going out and touching grass instead. Hussein went further into identity politics, talking about Gatwa's race. If the burden is the responsibility, and responsibility is greater because he's the first black actor, technically, the Jo Martin's Doctor, she was black. So she's not the first black actor to play the Doctor. Nice try though, buddy. Nice try though, buddy. And apparently hers is canon, and apparently like the first Doctor, like before William Hartnell's Doctor, she is apparently like the first Doctor. So technically, Gatwa's no. Meanwhile, Gatwa played victim about the situation, even though his casting was clearly a move made to push the woke agenda and upset fans. I wouldn't be anything. I wouldn't be the only black lead that's taken over the sci-fi franchise that would have received all sorts of that sort of treatment. With the addition of the season's new writers, all of whom are gay or transgender activists, it seems that Davies' plan of going further into the LGBTQ agenda with their beloved science franchise, goes even further, plans on going further with the franchise. Spoilers have already come out that Juno Dawson's episode, The Man and the Man Pretending to Be a Woman, is turning Doctor Who into a musical singing competition, which will no doubt insert LGBTQ themes into the work. Let them. Honestly, I don't care anymore. I don't care. Doctor Who needs to go on a hiatus for like 10 fucking years. The episode even casts queer activist Rylan Clark as a presenter, who gained prominence in the UK as a commentator on Eurovision. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away. Dawson is best known for writing This Book is Gay, his entire career dedicated to activism and grooming the youth. Those are his words, not mine. I don't really care anymore. It's pretty clear what's coming. It's marketing for a new season that premieres on April 12th, so not that far, like a month. It seems to be completely centered around pushing the LGBT agenda even harder. Let them. I don't care anymore. I stopped watching Doctor Who. I gave Jodie Whittaker a chance. I can't do it anymore. So if they want to push more gay crap, let them. I don't care. Most people just don't care anymore. People aren't watching. So if they want to keep pushing people away and making stories people don't actually care about, all to pander to a certain group of people, let them. And then when the views, the ratings and all that just hit rock bottom completely, you did it to yourselves. So let them be as gay as they fucking want. It doesn't matter anymore, because they're never going to listen to anyone anyway. So if they want to make him having freaking unprotected anal sex with whoever, let them. Just fucking let them. If he wants to wrap himself in a freaking pride flag and run down the streets of London, or wrap the freaking TARDIS, and just let him. I don't care anymore. I don't care. If they want to make the as gay as possible, let them. No one's watching it. He told everyone to touch grass, and that's what they did. So the only people watching this now are the diehard, like, oh my god, representation people. So, and that's not going to be enough to keep the show afloat. So they can be as gay as they want. They can be as political as they want. They can be whatever. No one's watching it. So anyway, that's going to do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.